The clerk will read.
Assembly number 1198, Mr. Dinowitz, legislative resolution mourning the death of the Honorable Eliot Engel, Assemblyman, Congressman, distinguished citizen, and devoted member of his community.
Mr. Dinowitz on the resolution.
Thank you. Eliot Engel was a Bronx boy who came from modest means and rose to the chairmanship of one of the most powerful committees in Congress. He helped countless people in the Bronx, Westchester, and Rockland, and loved serving our community. Eliot Engel passed away on April 10th, 2026. His grandparents were Ukrainian Jewish immigrants. His father was an iron worker. He grew up in the Bronx in public housing, in the Speaker's District, in fact, in Eastchester Gardens, and then in Co-op City. He went to public schools in the Bronx, and he went to what was then Hunter College in the Bronx, which is now Lehman College. He was elected Democratic District Leader in 1976, defeating the candidate of the Bronx Democratic Organization. He ran for Assembly in 1977 in a special election, and he was elected by 103 votes. He chaired the Committee on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse and the Mitchell-Lama Subcommittee here in the Assembly. In 1988, he was elected to the United States House of Representatives and eventually became the longest-serving congressman in the history of the Bronx. In Congress, he was a strong supporter of single-payer health care and then the Affordable Care Act. He had a perfect record on the environment and on gun control. He eventually rose to the chairmanship of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He fought against the ethnic cleansing of Albanians and for the independence of Kosovo. He stood for recognizing Jerusalem as the undivided capital of Israel. He fought for emergency relief for Haiti. He co-chaired the Congressional Ad Hoc Committee on Irish Affairs. He was the author of the Harkin-Engel Protocol, which addressed the issue of child labor in the cocoa fields of West Africa. He was deeply committed to human rights. His work had an impact across the world, and his office and himself helped thousands, probably tens of thousands of constituents over his many years of service. Eliot Engel was my friend for over 50 years. I ask that we honor the life of a good human being who led a life well lived, Congressman Eliot Engel.
Thank you, Mr. Dinowitz. So, my recollections of Congressman Engel, I was always a pretty good student in school. But the first award that I got for my achievement in school came from then Assemblyman Eliot Engel. So that's how far back my relationship with Congressman Engel goes. And there wasn't always a time that he and I were political allies. But I'd say the one thing about him, it never became anything personal with me and him. But then once I got elected to the Assembly, I'd say we were very close allies. We worked on a lot of things. But the life that Congressman Engel lived was really about service. I mean, from a young age, he was a member of the Assembly and then served with distinction in Congress. And he was, I'd say, an absolute person that was dedicated to my community in the Northeast Bronx, and it was a privilege, like I said, to think that I would one day serve as a government colleague to someone who gave me my first award in school is just something, a testament to him, to my neighborhood, about the closeness of people when you decide to give your life, to public service. And that's something that the congressman did. He gave his entire adult life to people in his community and the people that he represented. And he represented all areas of his district well. So he absolutely deserves recognition in this resolution, and absolutely may his soul rest in peace. Mr. Benedetto on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, letting me talk on this resolution. Eliot Engel was a friend, pure and simple. I worked on Eliot Engel's campaign when he was elected to the State Assembly. I celebrated with him that night and when we won, along with the rest of the members of the Bronx Reform Democrats. Somebody has gone away, and now people are after us. And that's the way with the world. I worked on Eliot Engel's congressional campaign. You know, when he was elected to Congress, there were a lot of people who wanted to run for that seat. Only Eliot had enough guts to go out there and challenge a sitting congressman who was a little bit tainted at that time. But Eliot did. And we worked together when I was elected to the State Assembly because I served Co-op City, and I currently sit in his seat. It's an honor to sit in his seat. He was a good man. He was a good assemblyman. He was a fine congressman. I was just proud to know him and to follow his lead on so many things. And God bless his soul. Thank you for putting this forward. And
Ms. Poland on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, I got to know Eliot later than most of the rest of you. He was redistricted to represent my area, I guess 2 redistrictings ago. And I remember when I first met him, he gave me his cell phone. And I didn't expect to get it, nor did I expect to really use it. And then I think it was maybe 2 weeks later, I was off Saturday night going to a wedding, and I got an emergency call from a staff person representing the interests of a constituent in my district whose brother was dying, and they had 2 sisters from a country they needed a special visa to get there, and they wanted those sisters to see their brother, who was just maybe 48 hours from his deathbed, and I didn't know what to do. So I called Eliot. It was, I'm going to say 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, and I didn't really even know him. And I shared the experience. And by Sunday, these 2 women were on a plane coming to visit their dying brother. And I will always just remember how responsive and how immediate he was to something that was something he didn't have to do. He didn't have to pick up the phone, and he didn't have to act that quickly. He was a Congress member for a long time, and I just appreciated how responsive he was to regular people. He was also an avid Mets fan, something that I shared with him that the 3 people here did not, and how excited he was to go to games, and we went to games together, and sometimes he brought some of his Yankee fans with him, and they tolerated his enthusiasm and his love for that team. So I just have these wonderful memories, and I wanted to share them. Thank you.
Mr. Sayers on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to give my condolences on behalf of the residents of Yonkers, New York. Eliot Engel represented the Bronx and predominantly Yonkers, and I've had an opportunity on numerous occasions to know and deal firsthand with Congressman Engel and witnessed his availability and his recognition of the diversification in his district. And he made it his attempt to attend every event, every cultural event. He made it his attempt to reach out and work, as the Assembly members have stated, on many matters that might be federal matters, immigration matters, and other departments. So he will dearly be missed, and he definitely is someone that took the role of congressman very seriously and really dedicated his life to doing his best. So our deepest sympathy to the Engel family and to his legacy. Thank you.
Mr. Yeager on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Although I represent Brooklyn, that's not really where I started. As many of my colleagues know, I was a young aide in the Bronx years ago and had many occasions to encounter Congressman Engel. And whenever I was in his universe, I was probably the one person around him he could have ignored more than anyone else. I was a staffer. I didn't even live in the Bronx, but he was the epitome of a mensch. He was somebody who would take the time to ask you how you're doing, put his arm around you. And when we were in government settings and we were dealing with whatever issues we were dealing with at the time, there was really no fact, as minute it may be, that he didn't have his thumb on. He understood the neighborhoods he represented. He understood every aspect of government. The last time we had a chance together to see each other at the Salute to Israel parade is now about 6 years ago. And he was the same that I remembered him many years before. He loved the Jewish people. He loved the state of Israel. He loved serving the Bronx and then later Westchester. And he loved public service. He's somebody who gave his life to serving his community. It was a passion of his in every way, and his passing is tremendous. And it's felt far beyond the neighborhoods that he represented. It's felt in my community in Brooklyn. We all knew him to be somebody who was passionate and in love with the state of Israel and the people of Israel, and as a defender of the Jewish people. And I join with my good colleagues everywhere in remembering him and mourning his passing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Otis on the resolution.
Congressman Engel came to our area in Westchester, the part that I represent, after redistricting. He previously had a district that was Rockland County, a sliver of Westchester in the Bronx. And when he got the Sound Shore of Westchester County, he made it his business, like no other congressman, to know every local official. I come from a local government background, and we respect that. To know all the local officials, to show up at all the local events, to be a presence. But he also, as you all know, had a presence on the world stage as chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee and did distinguished work around the globe, very important work. What I will remember most about Eliot is that he was a gentleman, he was a kind man, he was a thoughtful man, and he brought those values in his own personal temperament. The person that he was, he never changed who he was as an elected official. He brought that kind of sensitivity to the work that he did in Washington, in Albany, and around the world. We will miss him. It is a great loss. He was a great public servant. Thank you.
Ms. Shimsky on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have represented in various ways that little sliver that Eliot Engel represented in Westchester County for a long, long time. And he always showed up. He managed to get to village committee meetings. He managed to go out and have sit-downs with village officials to see what their major and their minor issues were. He cared about it all, and he made sure that folks in his office were there for people. I'm sure many of you remember Bill Weitz, who is now working for Westchester County and was his chief of staff for a long time. If there was something the congressman wanted to keep an eye on, he made sure Bill was deputized to follow through and do it. I was very saddened to hear of his passing, and as were most of my constituents. He touched a lot of people, and he is greatly missed.
All those in favor All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The resolution is adopted.